The following is a presentation of the Chicago Bears Network. Now on News Radio 105.9, this is the Bears Coaches Show with Bears head coach Matt Eberflus, sponsored by Advocate Healthcare and Athletico Physical Therapy. Now from Hallis Hall, here's the voice of the Bears, WBBM's Jeff Joniak.
And a pleasant good evening, everybody. Welcome into another edition of the Bears Coaches Show with head coach Matt Eberflus. Jeff Joniak here with you until 8 o'clock tonight on News Radio 105.9 WBBM. We recap the 23-20 win over the Houston Texans at Soldier Field. Good evening, Matt. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Hey, thanks for giving me a shout-out today.
Yeah,
at the
no
news
doubt.
conference
No
this
doubt.
afternoon.
I had to do it.
I hear my name echoing. I go, I can't be good. I can't be good, but it was. We'll tell you about it later as to why at the news conference. But it's the first time my name's ever been mentioned at a head coaching news conference.
Well, we're going to do it more.
Oh, I don't think so.
Make it a weekly event.
That's for sure. All right, let's get to the game. The name of the game is resiliency right now, right? And that's probably true for most of the 32 teams in the league. I'll give you some numbers later as to why, but resiliency is necessary to get a win.
Yeah, there's no doubt. You really do. You got to be strong in the fourth quarter, and certainly in the second half. They're all decided by one score or less. It comes down to that. So the guys know that, and we've been working really hard at that. It's really how we practice. Our mental and physical stamina is good, and it's how we practice every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's what we built upon during training camp. And the guys are able to execute down the stretch.
That's almost like a fuel tank. You got that on full to have that. But when it's not on full, will you tell us that too? When, when something like that, you just didn't feel like the week was good and it showed up on a Sunday.
Yeah, I thought we had a good week of practice. It was physical on Wednesday, and that showed in the running game on both sides. We ran the ball obviously very well on offense, and that's all 11 of us. And then we stopped the run better on defense. We had a 3.7 goal. We got 3.8 for the game, but yeah, that's all 11 of us there too. So we thought we tackled better. That was a big emphasis for the game going into it. Not where it needs to be yet, but it's certainly we tackled lower and we tackled better during the course of the game.
Is it ever perfect?
It can be real close.
Yeah,
that's what we're searching for.
You've had some of those games, huh?
Yeah.
That must just be euphoric for a head coach who is hammering that nail all the time for a moment like that in a game.
Well, it says a lot about the coaches. The coaches work tirelessly to get that done during the course of the week, make those corrections, and to get better as a football team. And that's what we need to do every week. We need to improve every single week, going forward.
How's the crowd for you? You gave them a treat at the end there on Roquan's pick and the field goal, the walk-off win. The place went crazy for that, but overall, it was a patient game for a fan to watch.
Yeah, the fans have been great. Chicago Bear fans they are very intelligent, and man, they get loud when they need to get loud, and we're excited about having that environment at home. And certainly excited about being 2-0 at home. So creating a home field advantage for ourselves.
Right, because you're getting a road here for a bit. I know you do one at a time, but there's a whole chunk of road games coming up for you.
Yeah, and that's the same preparation for us. And we feel a lot of times you get a little bit more time on a road game because you got that travel spot in the hotel, and you have some more mental preparation you can get done there during that time.
So I mentioned that I pull out this stat, but 2-1 through 3 weeks in a season where 18 games already in the league have been decided by 3 points or less this season. That's the most in NFL history through 3 games. Did you know that stat?
I did not, but I certainly know it by living it. It is always that way, and that's why you have to be good in situational ball.
Offenses are not scoring a lot of points. It's down 5% overall. I don't know who's watching these things, but the NFL certainly chunks out that information every Monday and after the games on Sunday. So implying to me that the idea of having these type of games is exactly what the NFL loves because it keeps everybody's interest from the first kickoff to the final gun.
Yeah, that's the way it is. That's the way it goes. I remember back in 2020, the scoring was through the roof. So we couldn't tell if it was the crowd noise or what it might be, but certainly that season was a little bit different than this one started out.
All right. Well, it takes time, first quarter of the season anyway, with the training camps as they are now. Do you buy into that at all? Just in terms of both offense and defense.
Yeah,
talk about tackling. I mean, teams are always upset about tackling in the first quarter of the year.
Right. And I think it's, if it's predictable, it's preventable, and that's what Coach Rod used to always say. So we got to do a better job of working that in. And I think our playing the preseason games helped us out, to get us to a bigger, better spot than if we wouldn't have played in those games for sure.
All right, 281. 281 yards rushing the football. Most here since 1984. That predates the Bears Super Bowl team, and they ran the ball a lot and at a great success rate. But that's impressive no matter how you slice it.
Yeah, it's historic. I mean, you think about it, that's a lot of years between, now and then for sure. But, man, it's a great job by everybody involved. I mean, we had a bunch of big runs, which you need to have that to get that number. And everybody was involved. I mean, the receivers blocking on the perimeter, the tight ends blocking, the linemen jumping to the second level to get to the linebackers and push them by the pile, and then Herbert making those great cuts, and it was all everybody involved, and it was something to watch.
It's empowering to see you win the line of scrimmage in that regard, isn't it? I mean, players love that. I mean, that Borum on the Khalil touchdown run cleared his guy from right tackle all the way to the sidelines. I mean, it's like out of a movie, putting a guy on the bench. I mean, that play blocked up had to be
we showed that play.
A sight for sore eyes. I mean, that's something.
We showed the play in the team meeting today, because we usually show all the touchdowns and explosive plays, and then we show the takeaways and all that in that meeting. But, man, I highlighted a bunch of guys in there. Both tackles, obviously you said Larry pushed the DB down on the ground, and then the Braxton came up and finished and really had the touchdown one. And then if you look at Sam had a great seal block on that. That was excellent too. So there's a lot of good blocking on that particular play, and obviously a great run.
Heck, blasting game also, got to put him in there. Braxton Jones, he had 2 cracks at him because he kept going. He finished.
Yep,
that's the definition of finish right there.
And we want to be strong finishers, and that's how we practice. We want to start fast and finish strong in everything we do. And those guys proved it on that play.
Montgomery, I think 11 snaps. How's he today, mentally? Because I know this means everything to him. The team's important to him. What he does on the field is important to him. And it happened on a play when he wasn't even running the football. It was a pass pro.
He's very passionate about this football team and about his teammates. And he's just that way. What a great worker he is. What a great teammate he is. And certainly being injured, he's down a little bit about that, but he'll turn the corner. Right now, it's day to day. We'll see where he is on Wednesday going forward and the rest of the week, and then we'll go from there.
But Herbert certainly took the baton, and this is somebody we got familiar with last year when David was out. He led the NFC in rushing for 4 weeks that he was in there. So, excellent runner. What do you love?
Yeah, he's a little bit different style. I mean, he's very smooth. He's obviously gets north, right away. And he has the ability to hit the home run, and that's what's great about him. I love his style, and he's a really good pass protector too, which is an awesome thing to have to be able to do both.
The Bears Coaches Show with Matt Eberflus and WBBM's Jeff Joniak continues.
Snap back to Mills. Pass is tipped, intercepted in the hands of Roquan Smith. Tripped up by Mills at the 12. Do a dance, baby. Do a dance. Bears defense turns him over.
Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show here on News Radio 105.9 WBBM with Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. Great seats available to see your Chicago Bears this season at Soldier Field. Get your tickets at chicagobears.com/tickets. The Pick. Great read. Came downhill with a real purpose. And heck, maybe if it wasn't tipped by Angelo Blackson, he still might have picked that ball off because he had a beat on it, didn't he?
Yeah, it was a really good play. We were in a zone coverage there, and he just read it and broke. And I really believe he probably would have picked it off no matter what. And what a great play at a great moment. And he's an impactful player. Certainly had a great game. With the 16 tackles. And that great interception, some TFLs, and he was all over the field. And he's in that will position for us, and that's a hot spot in our defense, and you need a playmaker there, and he certainly was that.
He hummed the ball into the south end zone. I mean, he must have thrown it a mile, little gift for the fans, but he just let out a lot of emotion. He's probably got a lot of pent-up feeling for a variety of reasons. But he's constantly being compared, though, to other great players at that position in this particular scheme. So he wants to deliver this kind of mail, too. And there's going to be more of this, isn't it? Because the further he gets engrossed in this scheme and what comes to him and what he creates, there's going to be more big plays here.
Yeah, there's a lot of plays to be had in there, and you certainly got to make them. And he certainly did that in this game for sure. And then we're excited about where he is. He's growing in the defense. He's understanding where he fits in the defense, and I said it last night, he's coming from a 3-4, so it's a little bit more lateral. It's a little more take on, And this is more run. It's more run, it's more speed, it's more playing. In front of the linemen in front of you that are penetrating, and you have to learn how to do that. And I think he's learning as he goes. He's getting more comfortable in that position for sure.
Nicholas Morrow also had himself a nice game. 6 tackles, a big one on that tackle for loss. It was 3rd and 6.
Yes.
That was a big play, but coming out of there, that gave that guy no chance to even get away.
No, it was a great reaction, and I love the tackle, the form tackle that he had on that. That's exactly how we want to do it, and we're going to use that for the rest of the team and the rest of the guys to show the perfect tackle and how you do that. But what a great reaction in a big-time play in a big moment.
I think you and I talked about it the morning of the game, the proper way of, looking for more lower tackles just like that. Is that by definition,
yes,
hamstring tackle?
That is it right there. If you want to see the definition or a video clip of it, there it is right there.
That was awesome. Awesome play right there. How about on the back end? How was your analysis of that after watching tape?
Yeah, it was good. I think we gave up a couple plays that we shouldn't have. We got to do better back there on a couple plays. Just communicating. We did a good job overall tackling, though. I really like the tackling. It's not where it needs to be, but it is gotten better. And we just got to keep getting on the runners and keeping the big cup on the ball, the force player, pursuit player, and apex players. And we're continuing to do that, but that'll be an emphasis for this week.
Are mental errors manageable right now? Or are they still happening at a rate that you're not comfortable with?
Yeah, I think mental errors, are always, you want it very limited. If you're being realistic, usually less than 5. If you have more than that, that's too many. And we're still working to get to that low number. So we have to continue to work on it. Guys understanding the scheme, understanding what we're trying to get done. And it really comes down to how we practice. If we practice, mental error free, we'll do it in the game first.
All right, let's talk about Kyler Gordon because he was in the focus a week ago. You worked with him this past week, made a couple of very nice plays, too, in the game. I know there was the one big pass play, but just the instincts, the speed. If something goes wrong, it doesn't seem like he's going in the tank for the rest of the game. He's still making plays.
No,
like that. The read from the nickel slot to break up that short throw over to Brandon Cooks, that's a big-time play.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of good things, and he's going to build on the positive, and that's what you have to do. And he's continuing to do that and then make the corrections and then learn from those. And those experiences he's having are invaluable. They are so good for him to be able to learn from that. We worked a lot on his footwork last week, in terms of how his angles going into tackles and what his footwork needs to be going into the tackles. And he improved on that this week, and how to hamstring tackle at the low and wrap strong and make those plays with his feet.
On a play like that from the nickel slot, since that play is everybody runs it, everybody tries to get a receiver out there and
sure.
try. Is that an interceptable pass at some point this season?
It is. I've seen it intercepted a couple times. Usually it's by tip. You actually tip it, and they actually can catch it that way. It's hard to catch it in the first way, but we've certainly seen it tipped and intercepted a couple times.
All right, let's talk Kendall Vildor.
Kendall ended up, grading out pretty well. He made that very impactful play with Eddie picking that pass off. We talked to him about how he's got to get his hands right so he can pick that pass off. But that got tipped up. Eddie made that great interception to stop that score. He had a couple pass breakups, did a nice job, did a better job tackling as well. So, he had 58 plays in the game, so he did play well, stepping up into that role for sure.
Now, more of the Bears Coaches Show, featuring Matt Eberflus on Chicago's news, traffic, and weather station, 105.9 WBBM.
Snap and a toss right. Big hole. Herbert breaks through 30, 35, 40. Hits the gas at the 50. Angling left to the 40 of the Texans. Stiff arm with Stingley, and he rolls him down inside the 25.
Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show. Khalil Herbert, the 52-yard scamper. Typically on a big run like that, I always say a crack turns into a canyon, and the way he goes, but there was a canyon from the jump. What a running lane for Khalil Herbert on that one. But you know what I really loved about that play? Is you as a coach, I was talking about finish. It doesn't matter what phase you're playing. Like the final 8 or 9 yards, moves the ball from his right arm to his left.
Right.
He picked up 8 or 9 extra yards on that.
Yeah,
run.
no doubt, and that's what we tell him to do. If you have the space to do it and you're not in traffic, go ahead and switch the arm to body ball boundary, and then go ahead and use that weapon that you have, that stiff arm, and that certainly creates yards for us. And he did a great job with that. Again, that was a pretty wide open hole, but. The guys did a nice job of varying your runs, inside, outside. When you do that as an offense, man, it's hard for the defense to defend all those, and they just got it rolling.
Best day running the football in the league by a player, Khalil Herbert, 20 for 157 and the 2 touchdowns. Only 2 negative runs, 10 carries for 5 yards or more. It almost seemed crazy to think that, at one point I'm thinking they're going to get 350 yards rushing the football. I mean, I think 190 yards of those came before contact, which tells me that the guys up front were doing their job. And you mentioned the receivers. We've got to talk about Equanimous St. Brown. His blocking has been really good. Obviously a product of the system that he was coming from, what you're demanding as well. But if you could put all that in one big pot and share with us what's going on there.
Yeah, it's just, Tyke does an excellent job of coaching these guys, when to crack, when to stalk, and, and how we do it. And, from Mooney to St. Brown to Pettis, to Smith, all of them in there, doing a great job of sustaining their blocks. And that's not easy to do because a lot of times they're cracking on bigger safeties, they're blocking linebackers, and it's just about the want to, and then the technique that the coaches are telling them to do, and we got to practice that way, and they do, and it's been really, really good to see. And you have a really good, we call those receivers, those are explosive playmakers, right? So they make them obviously, in the passing game, we get chunk plays in the passing game, but they also do it in the running game. They're so important position for us to make explosive plays in the running game because that's when it gets to the second level, and that's when we have to get those blocks on the perimeter.
How beneficial is Blasingame proving to be? Kari Blasingame, 11 snaps the first week, 13 last week, 15 this week. We told you last week, folks, that he had, when he was on the field, 110 yards of offense produced. It's got to be close to another 100 yards yesterday on those 15. He was in there for a lot of big plays.
Yeah, and that's such an important thing on early downs to have that fullback in there. And it changes, if you're in 22 personnel or 21 personnel and you have that guy in there, it's a big adjustment for the defense. And you have to really work on those run fits because not every team carries a fullback. So only a few teams do, and more are starting to go back to it. But, man, when you have that weapon as a fullback, it creates a lot of situations for the defense to handle.
We got to talk offensive line. They are grading out very high in the run blocking. I know some studies say the pass blocking isn't what it needs to be or whatnot. And, again, these guys are growing. This is week 3 together and some young players on there. How would you assess their development at this point?
Yeah, Chris Morgan, and Austin King do a great job with the offensive line. I mean, I'm in some of those meetings, and those guys are teachers, and they have a way of simplifying things, and to get the guys to play aggressive, and smart, and with great technique. And you can see that. I mean, it's just like, it's perfectly blocked a lot of times, and guys are, and then what I love about it is the second effort to finish. Those guys are always covering down the field. They're always pushing the pile. They're always knocking things forward. We always say, knock it forward on offense, knock it back on defense. And that's what they're doing. And the effort is there, the technique there is there, and the want to is there. And that's attributed really to the whole group. That's a tight group, that offensive line. And they're building upon these performances.
And playing time will continue to be a focus based on what you do in practice. And that's certainly something you touched on with Tevin Jenkins this past week. Yep. Lucas Patrick at the start had a lot more snaps at right guard.
Yeah, that's right. And, again, it's all about practice. The way you practice is, the way you're going to play and how much you're going to play. So that's an important piece to that. And, again, he had a good Thursday and a good Friday, and now we got to work on that running day, that first day, and have him have a good Wednesday.
And you keep referring to, we'll get into Justin Fields in our next segment, but, it's a group thing here. So offensive line, if the pass protection can only hold for so long, I mean, there's got to be and same with him getting rid of the football or they miss. I mean, it's all together. All 11 guys matter on the execution of these plays.
Yeah, no doubt. That doesn't matter if it's a run or a pass. It's all 11 of us, and coaches too. And we got to make sure we're on point.
The Bears Coaches Show with Matt Eberflus is sponsored by Verizon, Bet Rivers, and Miller Lite. Once again, the voice of the Bears, WBBM's Jeff Joniak.
Kick up by Cairo Santos. It is good for the win.
Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show here at Hallis Hall with Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. And one quick 4-play drive that you didn't care about, just line it up and kick the finishing blow. And that was Cairo Santos from 30. He made all 5 of his kicks, including a 50-yarder. And he hasn't had many of those as a Bear, but inside of 40, he hasn't missed as a Bear. 36 in a row. I don't want to jinx him moving forward, but hey, job well done.
Yeah, he was 3 for 3, had a 47-yarder, a 50-yarder, and obviously the game winner. And it was really good operation by everybody involved. The protection was good all day. The snap, the hold, obviously the kick was great. And, it takes all 11 of those guys as well. But certainly good to see us move the ball to the left hash there, and then he kicked it right to the middle. So it was a fun moment.
Yeah, to me, the pressure's on the holder. I mean, he's still learning, right? I mean, he's a young player, but he's proven to be quite the impact player as well. His punting has been outstanding. I met him in the locker room last week for the first time, and a delightful young man from North Carolina. Went to NC State, but grew up in Chapel Hill, so we had a good conversation about that. But that's a big moment for a young player as well, getting that snap down in a key moment there. Because you never know what's going to happen.
You never do, and those guys are tight, and they certainly work hard at it. And they've been doing a good job with that. And he's done a nice job of punting the ball. He's really good at punt and pin, down there, those rugby-style kicks, and he's really improved on that, and that's going to be a weapon for us.
All right, let's talk Justin. What did you see?
Yeah, so, Justin, I thought, we're going to build off the explosive passes he did have. There was a lot of times where he had a nice explosive pass, coupled to Cole, had one to Darnell Mooney. He had some good ones, and that's an exciting piece that we can build off of. With that running game that we have, there's going to be some wide open lanes for us to be able to throw into, and we're going to continue to build off the positives there. So that's where we are. And we're working diligently to get that done.
Do you feel in any way, and I'm going to focus on that deep ball to Mooney that he attempted in traffic, there were possibly other options. Is this a pressing situation? At some point, just wanting to go for the big play, maybe that opens things up. He is a competitive guy. I'm sure that's part of it, and maybe just the other guys pressing too.
Yeah, I think I alluded to it in the press conference earlier. Is that it's all 11 of us to get things done. Doesn't matter if it's run game or pass game. It's about the protection. It's about the timing of the routes. The depth of the routes that we're running. And all of it's involved. And of course the quarterback's part of that too. So we're just working through that and trying to get better every single week. And we're going to accentuate the run game to open up those passing lanes.
The interesting thing about this is, people talk about this system. Aaron Rodgers, as great as he is, had a little bit of run-up for that in 2019. He was getting sacked quite a bit during that. We look at Russell Wilson now in a similar system in Denver with Nathaniel Hackett. It hasn't been real easy scoring points. So is that a factor in this too? This is new.
Yeah, I think it's like the rhythm and timing of an offense. That takes time to build, and you're going against different coverages, different fronts every single week, and I think that's something that has to do with it. And again, it takes time. You got to be patient, and it takes time to get through the process of it.
In terms of his decision-making, we touched on this last week, too, about taking some of those runs. He certainly feels comfortable doing that and has picked up some. It's helping the run game, too. It's keeping defenders on their heels a little bit. How much is that helping the overall run game, just with him back there, too, because they got to worry about him?
Yeah, no doubt. It definitely helps out. When you have that threat of a quarterback that can run the ball, either it's design runs or if it's a quarterback scramble, that puts a lot of, stress on the defense for sure. And up here, mentally, he's in a good spot, or is he taking this, forgetting it and moving on type of mentality every day? Yep, it's our 24-hour rule, so he's going to that. We're just in the meetings with him. He's positive, he's upbeat, and he's getting ready to get back to work on Wednesday.
The Bears Coaches Show with Matt Eberflus and WBBM's Jeff Joniak continues.
Fields the throw, got an open man, Komet the catch over the shoulder, inside the 35, outside the numbers, and rumbles near the 30-yard, down to the 27.
Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show. Calling all Bears fans, get the ultimate VIP fan package with Chicago Bears VIP. Secure a game ticket and appearance from Bears legends and more by visiting ChicagoBearsVIP.com. One of two big catches by Cole Komet. Overall, that's going to loosen things up as well. I don't know what comes first, chicken or the egg here, with receivers finding success to help out the tight end or the tight end helping the receivers. I know it's all 11, but sometimes the coverages, that'll help one of those two positions.
Yeah, there's no doubt when you can get the ball to your tight end, because, I think that, tight end receptions are really good because those guys have the catch radius. They're usually bigger than the guys who are covering them, and they can use their body. And you can certainly throw those guys open, but man, they're usually always open because of the catch radius. And Cole proved that yesterday, and it was great to see him get those two explosive passes.
And maybe it only takes a little fire starter like that to get that rhythm going for weeks to come, right? I mean, is this possible? And what are you seeing in practice from that chemistry that maybe hasn't made it to Sundays?
Yeah, there's been great chemistry with the tight ends, all the tight ends, and he's certainly caught some explosive passes, down the middle of the field, in the corners of the field, and certainly in the low part of the field too. So that's what we're stressing. And, again, he does a nice job of catching the ball and running after the catch, too. So we're excited about where that is.
Byron Pringle only managed to play a couple. It would be great to get these guys in there with some consistency, right? Again, with the continuity. Maybe get Bayless Jones here in the coming weeks as well.
Yeah, so we're excited where Bayless is. We'll see where he is this coming week, because that'll be a nice added piece for us if he can come back from that hamstring. So we're excited to see where he is going. Because that brings a speed piece to it, and certainly in the return game we can get that going as well. And that'll be very helpful for us going forward. All those guys are working hard during the course of the week. St. Brown obviously has been an impactful player for us in the run and the pass. And certainly Mooney getting going there is going to help us as well.
All right, let's talk about Darnell because we talked about it. This is why the Joniak name was mentioned in the coaches' news conference. I'm very flattered, but I couldn't believe my eyes because, honestly, I'd never seen it. So he's out there in the Jugs gun. A lot of people on social media were taking pictures of it from the media. Word traveled. And I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way because this is just who he is and what he's all about. It doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise you, but this is not somebody looking for attention just because he might have had a couple drops in a game. This is work. This is his job.
Yeah, he works hard. I mean, he's out there every single day before practice on that jug. So that's nothing new to him, So, and if he has something to work on, he's going to go work on it and get better at it. So he's a very determined young man. He's very talented, and man, he's a hard worker. So when you combine those traits, nothing but good things are going to happen for Darnell this year.
Did you talk to him about that today?
Oh, yeah, I've talked to him about it. He knows that, and he knows that everything is positive going forward, and we're working in progress here, and he's a big part of our plans.
Did you ask him why he did that?
Oh, he's just working.
Yeah,
just getting to work. That's all.
It's a cool little story, if you ask me.
No doubt.
It's like, sometimes you hear these stories about high school sports or whatever. Basketball team goes after they got beat, they go back in the gym and they have a practice or they're running sprints. That's not what this is.
Yeah.
This is just a guy working on his craft.
Like the 84 hockey team.
Yeah,
right? That's right.
Exactly
there
right.
You go.
Let's talk special teams real quick because aside from the operation, as what we call the kicking, punting, and long snapping situation, what did you think of the overall performance on that? There was a fake punt on you, obviously.
Right.
Punt return game's been quiet, but Treston Ebner still very, very good back there on the back end for the kick return.
Yeah, we talked about it today, just about sustaining blocks. We got to do a better job of having a body on a body and sustaining blocks in our return game, to give those guys some windows to run into. So we got to improve on that for sure. And that's going forward. That'll be a big emphasis for us this week.
Rarely do we put the focus on guys that are on the special teams kickoff coverage team or announcers, and there's no time for it, right? But Tom and I did it yesterday just to alert who's on there. I mean, these are guys that Chicago hasn't really heard about yet. There's a bunch of rookies on there. Yeah. And I think they deserve to, this is where they're cutting their teeth. The guys like Elijah Hicks and Weatherford and,
right.
We can go down the list. There's a lot of young players on those units, but it's a way to get playing time, and they're getting your attention, and you're going to be talking about these guys for a long time if they do clear that hurdle and get the chances to win some spots on defense or on the offensive side of the football.
And those guys are doing a good job, from Sanborn to Joe Thomas. Weatherford does a nice job. Obviously, Blackwell is one of our gunners. Lamar came in and did some things for us yesterday. Jalen Jones also has been one of our gunners, and he's been doing a good job with that. So, there's a lot of guys that go unheralded,
yep.
Throughout the course of the game that really, are a big part of our success for the victory yesterday.
And not Matt Adams yesterday, but he's your leading special teams tackler going into week 4 with 4 special teams tackles, a familiar player to you. Hopefully he'll be back soon as well.
The Bears Coaches Show continues exclusively on the home of the Bears, Chicago's news, traffic, and weather station, 105.9 WBBM.
Snap, play fake, Mills. Hit! Down he goes. Snowed under, bringing in the heat. Justin Jones on the sack. First of the day, Davis Mills.
Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show with Matt Eberflus. There's the sack by Justin Jones, a 3-technique defensive tackle, the play up front, getting it done. How's he been playing? I know he had 8 tackles last week. This week, the sack, and that was a big one, came out of nowhere.
No, he's in one of those important spots for us. He plays the under tackle for us, and man, he's been doing really well these first 3 weeks. And that's a takeoff position, so his charge is to get off in the B gap, and he does a really good job with that and disrupt the run in the pass game. And when he gets a single, then we ask him to win those one-on-one matchups in the pass game. He's done a good job either getting pressure or getting sacks in that regard. So that's what he did in the game yesterday.
I know a depth on the defensive line is never enough. You're always looking for guys to come in there and rotate. Have you been pleased with the snap distribution among the guys? Are you getting the waves of fresh bodies that you seek?
Yeah, it's been good. Our defensive guys have been doing a good job of rotating those guys in there, and we want to have guys fresh in the fourth quarter so they can rush when they need to, and we've been getting some good pressure. Obviously it's never enough pressure, never enough sacks, but we need to keep working those waves, and making sure we're doing a good job of getting those guys in there like Travis, and Al, Muhammad and also Rowe, Dominic Robinson in there too as well to rush those guys. And to get their chances and get their one-on-one matchups.
How do you know when it's time?
Yeah, so the rotation for that on early downs, the coach is controlling it, but we also work closely with the players. So if the player knows, hey, I'm going in, this is my 4th play or my 5th play in a row, then we'll just simply rotate them out. They know the play number that they're looking at, and they know who's rotating with them. So, and we want to get our rushers, obviously, in the green rush on 3rd down so we can get off the field.
You say the green rush?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's just our NASCAR green rush.
Oh, okay.
The guys,
okay.
The speed rushers.
The NASCAR package.
You
See, you're throwing words at me. You got so many, I can't keep track.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them.
I like it. You mentioned Joe Thomas in our previous segment, veteran that and he came in there and played in the base defense. It's so crazy now to see veterans on the practice squad, but I think it's been a valuable thing because they tend, because of salary cap, they tend to just go by the wayside, and all of a sudden you don't hear from them, maybe ever again. It's not a league that favors veterans sometimes, but has that been a good thing to have a practice squad that can include veteran players of any experience?
Oh, that's been outstanding. Because
how valuable?
You have that experience, and you're able to plug and play. And Joe's played in our scheme, before, and he came out 27 plays. Houston is one of the more base teams. They come out in 21, 22, and they utilize that a lot. So he ended up having 27 plays yesterday. And had a lot of plays in the kicking game too. I think he had 22 in the kicking. So he was a big part of our game plan, and he functioned really well. He ended up grading out really well for us. He was consistent. He was physical, made some tackles, and we were certainly glad to have him in there. He performed really well yesterday.
And these guys got to love the game because I'm sure it's a little hit to the ego a little bit to be put on a practice squad. You're not in that same 53-man payday type of thing, but it's a better situation. Do you have to have sometimes heart-to-hearts with guys about that they don't want to go on the practice squad?
Yeah, you do, but Joe's the right kind of guy. He's a great teammate. He's been in this league a long time. He understands the league, and he's put his best foot forward yesterday.
All right, excluding scrambles, back to the offense here, 394 yards on the ground in the past 2 games, not including Justin. What eventually will this allow you to do in this offense?
Yeah, so you got to have foundation. So what is foundation? Well, we know the foundation for us is our hits principle. The hustle, the intensity, taking care of the ball, and being smart situationally. Well, the intensity piece, part of that is running the ball. So that's how we show intensity on the offensive side of the ball, and that's a foundational piece for us. So in order to be a good football team, you have to be able to run the ball. You got to be able to stop the run. And we're establishing that right now as we go through this season. So, and what that opens up is a lot of other things. It opens up, you get loaded boxes, and it opens up a lot of windows in the passing game. So we're excited about where that's going, but you can't have that if you can't run the ball. So it's important for us to be able to do that and establish that week in and week out that we're going to be able to do that.
Now it's time to look ahead, brought to you by Bet Rivers, the official sportsbook partner of the Bears. The Bears head to Jersey next week to take on the Giants at noon. The Giants trying to get to 3-0 tonight. They are already underway hosting the Dallas Cowboys, and we'll get Matt out of here so he can take a look at this matchup with Dallas. First thing you think of, Obviously on offense is Daniel Jones, a quarterback with Saquon Barkley, who's had some injury troubles. Bears have played him every year since 2018, so he's had a couple of injuries in the Bears game that's cost him some time, but he seems like he's back to work and back to normal.
Yeah, they certainly have good skill on their team. There's no question about that, and their runner definitely is that. And he's a load to bring down, and he's also a guy in the passing game that certainly can work you in the passing game too. So we've had a chance to play him, a few times over the last few years, and certainly what a great player he is. So we're gonna have our hands full with the Giants coming this next Sunday.
And how about Daniel Jones? What's your analysis on him?
Yeah, I think he's improving. I think Brian Daboll is a great coach and a great quarterback coach, and he's certainly utilizing his skill and what he does well in that offense. So Brian's done a great job with him.
And defensively, the front is pretty impressive. There's some names on there. A couple guys are getting back healthy, including Aguilari and the first-round pick, Kayvon Thibodeau. So I'm sure you took a look at him in the draft preparation as well. But with Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams and those guys, it'll be interesting. And I mentioned Wink Martindale, and the first thing you always think of is just the pressure and the types of different looks he gives you.
Yeah, he was obviously with Baltimore for all those years, and he did a great job with those guys, and the varying fronts and coverages and the pressure package that he brings certainly creates a lot of issues for the offense. So we'll have our hands full with that. And guys, we're going to work at it. Obviously we're going to look at it here the next couple of days, come up with a game plan that's simple, that's sound, that's attacking, and we're going to get that going here pretty soon.
All right, Matt. Well, we appreciate it as always. Another one of the books, and good luck in your pursuit of win number 3.
All right, thank you.
Already at the quarter pole. Well, used to be what the quarter pole was. I always forget that 17th game, but it's moving quickly, right?
Yes.
It's moving quickly. Appreciate it, Matt. This will be the 7th meeting since 2013 between the Bears and Giants. Bears have won the matchup each of the last 3 years. Brand new scheme, brand new leadership there in New York. That's going to do it for us here from Hallis Hall. I want to thank our producers, as always, Lisa Fielding tonight, along with Andy Gersher, Dan Burley, and Jordan Tretta. For Bears head coach Matt Eberflus, I'm Jeff Joniak. Week 4 kicks off back at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Pregame at 9, kickoff at noon.